She was allegedly 18-year-old high school senior. She was traveling with them. Will they be called by the prosecution? And if so, what's the potential impact on this case against R. Kelly?
Absolutely. You're going to hear, you're going to hear managers, you're going to hear booking agents, you're going to hear from the people who are surrounding R. Kelly, maybe even members of his internal sort of entourage. They're all going to be called to testify because many of those folks could have been charged themselves. The government chose not to. But you're going to get an inner look. The government's already previewed some of this. You're going to get an inner look at how R. Kelly operated, particularly when he would show up at concerts and try to really groom women and bring them into what ultimately was a criminal enterprise where they were assaulted or potentially kidnapped in some cases. So those witnesses will be critical. We'll hear from them. We'll read their text messages as the trial goes on. And I think that sort of evidence from the inside is going to be critical in the government's case.
So if he's convicted, what's the possible sentencing and who else might go down with him?
The convictions for some of these crimes carry 20 years maximum, some carry 10. Those can be stacked. I would expect if he's convicted in this case, there's also a case in Chicago federal court is looking at, you're looking at well over 10, 15 years in this case. In terms of other people, we'll see who the government calls as cooperating witnesses, whether any of them have already received some sort of plea deal. But it's not impossible to believe that after this trial,
I know, right?
On other people within the organization.
That's why I told people stop playing with me.
Former assistant U.S.
I got enough government money to fuck you guys up.
Thank you, Arthur.
I'm gonna run that back real quick.
Possible to believe it.
Run this shit back real quick. I'm gonna let y'all know something. You don't stop playing with me.
They certainly raise.
I gotta get this all the way back here. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna let y'all know something. You don't stop playing with me. Let's see.
They prosecute crimes they might not otherwise be able to, especially in federal court.
Let me go back.
Let's
see.
Good. Victims. Let's bring in four series of trials.
Y'all better quit playing with me, man. You know who y'all exposed yourselves. They said this was a big money-making scheme for the government. The government, you know how much money the government's making off this shit right here? Everybody in the world is banking off this shit. But it's okay for the MS-13 and the human trafficking and Mexican cartel to do it, but not R. Kelly. I know Vegas Strip Gentlemen's Club, they do this shit every day of the fucking week, and they're making this black man look stupid. They're making him look like a goddamn fool. What's the difference of R. Kelly and Vegas Strip Gentlemen's Club? The owners of Vegas Strip Gentlemen's Club, they're not locked up. Why is this black man being falsely accused? He's being falsely accused. They're falsely accusing R. Kelly. But the Mexican cartel, that's okay. And MS-13 and the human trap, other people doing it, that's okay. But just not R. Kelly. Why? Because he's black? Or, you know what his real name is? Robert. That's his real name, Robert. Look at their innocent man right there. There ain't nothing wrong. A lot of black men do it. There's a lot of black men that do that same shit. Never see a jail cell or institution. They're being very unfair with Robert Kelly. That's not fair. Other black men do it all the time. Why is R. Kelly got to get in trouble for it?
In addition, this case has been widely reported, and so they're going to have to get rid of.
I know. All he was really doing is making money, and he was singing, doing shows. What? So what? So what? Who gives a fuck? What? This is bullshit. They want him in Chicago and other states.
That's going to prevail and ultimately come down to how the jury feels about these victims when they testify. Do they believe them? Do they think they're credible?
I know.
Ultimately, do they think that
he's black, and they singled him out.
Now, while he was on tour
in
2016, two members of R. Kelly's entourage allegedly expressed concern that R. Kelly was physically and psychologically abusing a teenage girl. She was allegedly 18-year-old high school.
And they thought this shit was gonna help them. Even white people thought it was gonna work. It's gonna be. They thought it was gonna be to their benefit. It's not.
Absolutely.
That's gonna get them more fucked up than anybody.
Managers, you're going to hear booking agents. You're going to hear from the people who are surrounding R. Kelly, maybe even members of his internal sort of entourage. They're all going to be called to testify because many of those folks
that's the only name.
Themselves, the government
The only they're exposing him. Look, where's everybody else that was involved?
Particularly, he would show up at concerts and try to really groom women.
Where's everybody else that was involved? Where's everybody else that was involved? Where's everybody else? Look, it's just him. It's just him and his name. That's it. Where's everybody else? Who you guys snitching on? Who you exposing?
What's the possible sentencing, and who else might go down with him?
You know, the convictions for some of these crimes carry 20 years maximum, some carry 10. Those can be stacked. I would expect if he's convicted in this case, there's also a case in Chicago federal court you're looking at well over 10, 15
Why
years
did these single R. Kelly out? Why did these single a black man out? When it comes to, there's black men and white men that do this shit all the time that never see a fucking arrest. Crack whores need a death like an arrest. Crack whores need a death like an arrest. That shit ain't right. What else they talking about? Yeah, God's up. I'm up too, and we on your asses.
Of hypocrisy, a maskless Obama hits the dance floor at his so-called scaled-back birthday party while COVID cases surge in some areas of the country.
Jono. New developments in the accusations against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. One of his accusers, known as Executive Assistant Number 1, is going public.
And Lisa.
Yeah, so Trace, the Olympics are officially over, but would anyone notice? We break down the ratings plunge of the 2020 Tokyo Games.
But first, we begin with the Fox News alert. The Chicago police officer killed in the line of duty late last night has now been identified as Officer Ella French. Chicago's FOP posted this on Facebook. Late last night, two of our own were shot. We lost a sister in blue. Officer Ella French was murdered while conducting a traffic stop with her partners. Our hearts go out to her family, friends, and co-workers. The second officer is still fighting for his life. Please keep him in your prayers and thoughts. And we begin with our senior correspondent, Mike Tobin. He's live for us in Chicago with what we learned. Mike.
And Tracy, police sources saying that police officer who survived was shot 3 times. One of the bullets went through his eye. He is currently fighting for his life at the University of Chicago Hospital. Now, the officer who gave her life in the name of public safety has been identified. She was just 29 years old, Ella French. She had been on the force since 2018. Police officers gathered at the University of Chicago Hospital. They hugged and shed a tear for the fallen.
I'm right around the corner. I'm right around the corner from Chicago. I could be in Chicago in 2 hours.
The public, particularly in black and brown neighborhoods, to end the constant strife with police. Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown noted that despite the loss, police officers put on the uniform again this morning and returned to the streets.
I'm asking Chicago to wrap their arms around our police officers today and encourage them to continue their great work.
The incident occurred just after 9 o'clock local time in the troubled Southside neighborhood called West Englewood. The officers were part of the new community safety team intended to combat the bloodshed. They pulled a car over. 2 men and 1 woman were inside. One of the men opened fire. The officers returned fire.
This is bullshit. We shouldn't have to be fucking dealing with this shit.
me show y'all the video. Maybe it'll play. Maybe it'll play through here. First of all, we're gonna talk about this. Let's watch this.
They need to look at the numbers again. You're from Jono, and I know
If I knew better, if I knew any better, don't you think I'd be doing better?
It's really unfortunate that it is a war zone, Chicago. And I recently had a situation. My younger sister called me last week. I was in Italy. And she told me that the night before, she was leaving the grocery store when two people, a man and a woman, walked up to her and attacked her. It was unprovoked. She had a 3-month-old son with her, my nephew. They beat her down to the ground, kicked her in her face, kicked her in her stomach, and then pulled a gun out on her and told her that they would kill her and her son. These are issues that many individuals across the city, whether you be on the south sides or west sides where it has historically happened, the violence, or whether you be downtown on the Gold Coast, or even in Lincoln Park, where there's usually a younger white group of folks, college students live. There's been mass shootings in those areas, which we had never seen before. Who's to blame? The mayor of Chicago, the Cook County prosecutor especially. The Cook County prosecutor, Ken Fox, has released 25,000 felony cases, including murder cases. There was an analysis by the Sun-Times also that showed in the last 6 years...
That's just right around the corner from where I live. I could be in Chicago in, what, hour and a half, 2 hours? I'm pulled right up in Chicago, right downtown. I had to go to Detroit. I had to go to Pontiac at Havenwood. They've been fucking tossing me around like a fucking rag doll. They've been tossing me. They've been playing me like a little ass fucking kid. Like I won't fuck some shit up, man. Don't fucking play with me.
And running out of ankle bracelets, so in some cases you have murder suspects just wandering around with no checks, with no observation at all. And Abby, you listen to the police officers who are under fire and the people in these neighborhoods under fire. I want to play this soundbite from the Reverend Eugene Rivers on the problem of the violence and then get your response.
I'm gonna post this shit on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna post this shit on my YouTube.
Say Black Lives Matters, which is ridiculous, and then refuse to confront the fact that black people are killing black people, then you want to defund the police. That's absurd, it's irresponsible, and any politician that suggests that they should be defunded.
We often wonder, Abby, that why on a day like this, when you had 45 shootings and you had 2 police officers shot, why are there not rallies? Why are there not marches through the streets of these cities by Black Lives Matters and others who are concerned?
Absolutely, and the only thing that we did see was all of the police officers showing up for that fallen officer and the one who's fighting for his life right now. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to them. But the Reverend brings up a really good point. Why are you still trying to defund the police? Why, Cori Bush, are you saying these things that you said last week? We talked about it all last week.
Well, I haven't heard from Cory Booker. Whatever happened to Cory Booker? Where's Cory Booker? And what's that one? Ron James? Ron James, he's a what, Republican? Ron James, I think. Where in the hell is he at? Where's Gretchen Whitmer in this shit? Joe Biden, where's he at? Harris, AOC, already out of control. Where's AOC and all this shit? Where in the hell where's Donald Trump at?
She was just back from maternity leave, rather. I'm hearing now that we don't know if she's back from maternity leave, but she did leave behind a 2-month-old baby. And again, to me, I try to relate it. You're just a normal human.
Where you at, Joe Biden? Where you at, Joe Biden? Huh, buddy?
And say, hey, I want to defund you. I don't really support what you're doing, but actually, can you still save my life? That's what's happening with these police officers. They're, again, going out with little to no support, and it's a rhetoric that needs to change.
You talk about Cori Bush and
Joe Biden, Gretchen Whitmer, Harris, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Detroit.
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life, and I have
too much work to do. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up. And defunding the police has to happen when we're talking about every single year increasing the budget for police, and then the budget for like health and human services continuing to shrink. And St. Louis being number one for police violence year after year after year, number one, number two for homicides year and year after year. So when we adding more money to the police, but we're still dying. So something yeah.
Just for clarity, Lisa, she said it on Wednesday and then doubled down this morning.
Yeah, and Trace, she talks about the attempts on her life. What about the attempts on the lives of the people living in Chicago? The majority of the shooting victims are black there. What about their lives? Do their lives matter to Cori Bush and Democrats like her who believe in defunding the police? And Ella French was 29 years old. Her entire life ahead of her. There's another police officer fighting for his life right now. But people like Cori Bush don't care. Lori Lightfoot does not care. Joe Biden does not care. Kamala Harris does not care, because you know why? They have made police officers the target in America. They have glorified criminals while making cops the bad guys. Jacob Blake, Kamala Harris said she was proud of him. A man who sexually assaulted a woman showed up at her house again, pulled a knife on police officers, but she's proud of him. Is that someone that we should be proud of as a society? Cities like New York putting up statues of George Floyd, a man who, along with his friends, robbed a house and put a gun to a woman's stomach. Is that someone we should be lionizing as a society? Do you start to see the problem of why we have criminals acting with impunity and police officers who are being gunned down in our streets? We need to rethink this thought process, and Democrats are to blame, particularly the ones who have called for defunding the police in America.
What do you think, Jenna? Last thoughts on this. Is it that they don't care, or is it that they don't know what to do? I mean, this has been a problem that's been underway for a long time in Chicago. What are your final thoughts on this?
Well, my final thoughts are, this city has become a complete war zone for so many of the citizens there. You should be more tough on crime instead of lenient. So why would you drop 25,000 felony cases, including murders, Kim Fox, if you really cared? That's a really principal point that Lisa made there. And I don't believe that they really care in the way that they should to change the dynamics.
I'm posting this video on my YouTube channel.
Yep, very important.
Not my main YouTube, a different one.
Next on the Big Sunday Show, it is the height of hypocrisy. A maskless Obama hits the dance floor at his
There's Fossey.
birthday bash while coronavirus spreads.
There's Donald Trump. There's Dr. Fauci.
More mandates. Next.
I said to her, you gotta customize your car insurance at Liberty Mutual, so you only pay for what you need. Hot dog or chicken? Only pay for what you need. Liberty.
Say you got Grandpa's mail or paper.
When you earn a degree with the University of
I don't know if I did or not. I don't think I did. I don't know. If not, it's in his mailbox. Today's Sunday, so I'm not sure. I didn't wake up till late, so usually when I get up, usually if I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I do is get his paper and put it in his porch.
It's real meat and veggies, developed with vets and delivered fresh to you. Visit tryfarmersdog.com to see your dog's personalized meal plan.
Oh, pretty cool, right? Really is. Hey, I know you.
She's eating the rocket. She is eating the rocket. I assume we needed that.
live on Fox.
Welcome to Fantasy Island.
Let the adventure begin. Fantasy Island.
I'm hoping to let me download the video. I'll have it on Instagram, but I don't know if I'll be able to download it and put it on my YouTube channel. I might be able to post it on some other stuff too.
Unfortunately, around the age of 20, your body starts producing less GH. And by the time you're in your 40s and 50s, it's much harder to stay energetic, lean, and build muscle. But what if there was a way to tell your body to get back to work and boost your GH levels again? Nugenix GH Boost uses an amino acid and botanical blend. Boosts its own GH levels more than 100%. Text LOYAL to 369-369 to get your complimentary sample of Nugenix GH Boost. You'll get the boost you need to sculpt a stronger, leaner body that is sure to turn heads. Get back to work with Nugenix GH Boost. Text LOYAL to 369-369 to get a complimentary sample of Nugenix GH Boost. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Text LOYAL to 369-369.
Welcome back to the Big Sunday Show. That might be a song that was playing at former President Barack Obama's Big Bash. He was seen dancing maskless during his 60th birthday party last night. That was scaled back, which was still attended by hundreds of people. Meanwhile, in a new interview this morning, Dr. Fauci pushed for more mandates. Take a listen.
I'm almost certain, in fact, I am certain, that as soon as the FDA fully approves the vaccines, you're going to see the empowerment of local enterprises giving mandates, and I strongly support that.
All right, a lot to unpack here.
Damn.
We'll start with you. Can we turn our attention to France?
Hell,
Take us
damn.
on their fourth straight weekend of protests.
Y'all out of the pocket, man. Y'all out of line and out of the pocket. Get back in line, man. Y'all need to get back in line. Shit. Shit.
Do you think we'll see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. People are pushing back on this kind of thing. You know, by the way, the Obama thing, they was scaled back. It was scaled back so much, Abby, that the police officers were calling the traffic situation a blank show. And because they couldn't get control of it. So that's how they, you know, and the whole thing is somebody in
Height of hypocrisy. Maskless Obama picture dancing at a huge birthday bash.
Which is, I think, fair. But we are not seeing a rise in cases because somebody didn't wear a mask. For one reason, because not enough people are getting the vaccinations. Look,
Life, liberty, and loving.
the vaccine, I think it's
Big
a
Sunday.
mistake not
The next
to get
revolution.
vaccinated because the bottom line is it could save your life. But you have to remember, we're a free country, and people are free to make their own decisions and
Free to make their own decision. I'm free to go get some food because I put it in there and I ain't got it out yet. Need it. Hopefully it's still hot. There we go. Hopefully, bon appetit.
And inspiration. I love walking my home and showing up and down with you.
People in my city fight for the meals. Guys who don't mind this shit, but I do.
And the same thing, if you don't want to get vaccinated, I shouldn't have to wear a mask because you chose not to get vaccinated.
Yeah, that's an interesting piece that you brought attention to. I actually heard you were invited to Obama's birthday bash.
I was. I had other things to do. I didn't show up. I was sorry, Barack, man. I can't make it, bro. Maybe next year.
Joe Rogan, he had something very interesting to say about these mask mandates. He always seems to put it so eloquently.
They can figure out a way to force you into carrying papers, into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open. And as soon as you give politicians power, and any kind of power that didn't exist previously, historically,
I don't want power. I want money.
Find new reasons to use it. Because when you give people freedom, you let people do whatever they want to do. They actually find ways to succeed and grow and thrive. As soon as you tell them, you have to do this or you can't do that. You have to listen to me. Now you have a mini dictator. You have one step away from a king. You're moving one step closer to dictatorship.
You're the one saying it.
Not relinquish that power. I thought that was really interesting. Lisa,
You hear what he said? What was he talking about?
just make sure we don't have to bleep that. They would be very upset with me. Absolutely right. We're never going to be as free as a society as we were before COVID. Fear is a powerful tool to take control, and that's what the people in charge have done. If they were worried about COVID, would Obama be holding a party with hundreds of people not wearing a mask, walking around with his friends? But they want you to wear a mask around your children in your own home. It is being used to control society. Go through some of the things that happened over the
Well, that when my parents let me leave last night, I'm going down the road going, if I fucking knew better, I'd do better. I was like, I only know this shit I was taught, man.
Freedom to worship, freedom of religion. Here in America, we saw a gutting of the middle class, of small businesses, while corporations at the top continue to grow.
I was like, you're right. I'm just as lost and confused about this shit as everybody else is.
As we saw with corporations going after Georgia,
The only difference is,
we see an increasing
I get money.
Americans that are now subservient and reliant upon the federal government. What the welfare state expanded.
People around here that say they got more money than me don't even have a penny to their name or a bank account. I'm up. I'm up. What's happening?
Yeah, and another thing that critics are saying about this vaccine mandate, Jono, is that what about the people who have underlying conditions, can't get the vaccine?
Hey, don't play this shit on me.
COVID-19, they're being told that they're
I think that's connected to the R. Kelly shit.
What do they do when they want to go?
They're still making shit off that. They're still making money off that shit. They're dragging it out. He's been locked up since 2019.
Well, they remain fearful in
It's like, damn.
their homes, and that's a really
R. Kelly is not free, man.
messaging we
I mean,
give
yeah, he's
to
not free,
CDC.
but
And,
another thing.
Dr. Fauci has been confusing at
There-
best, and interestingly
hey,
enough, seeing,
I want to say this.
at this party, many Americans would like to do
This-
what he's doing, have a party with all
I don't want to say this shit.
with no mask, but we don't have that opportunity.
Why did they single Robert Kelly out? Why did they single him out like that?
In Los Angeles right now, after this
They single R. Kelly. You know how many black and white men do that to them women? Why did they single him out?
I didn't have a COVID passport. I didn't have a recent COVID test.
They did. Yes, they fucking did.
According to the CDC, as of last Friday,
They singled R. Kelly out,
one COVID shot already.
and they're saying he's got to do anywhere from 15 to 20 years of prison for what every white man does and every black man does. And them women know it just as well as I do that R. Kelly is pretty much innocent from that bullshit. Why did they single Robert Kelly out, man? There's a lot of white men and black men that do that shit, and they never even get. They're never even seen in public.
It's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to COVID-19, so things that we're all still figuring out. All right, great discussion, guys.
I've been knowing. I woke up, I said, "You guys still asleep?" Who you saying? I'm gonna screenshot this right here real quick. Hold up. Watch this. Let's see if I can.